and welcome to Real Actors, Real Answers, the podcast where you are the star. Today, I have the awesome privilege of interviewing Melissa Fulmer from Alabama. She is a multi-talented individual. She's an actress, and she has a fantastic story, one of which, well, I have a lot of questions for her. I'm excited about this. So, Melissa, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you, David?
I'm doing spectacular. You live where?
I live in Huntsville, Alabama. So North Alabama, about 2 hours south of Nashville and an hour and a half north of Birmingham.
A lot of activity around there.
You say a lot of activity?
Yeah.
Yeah. Huntsville, I'm pretty sure we're the fastest growing city in all of Alabama. And we were ranked the number one place to live in America. So we're just exploding.
Really?
Yeah. We're exploding with people from all over the country moving in for jobs, and it's because it's just a great place to raise a family and relatively affordable.
That's very nice. Wow. I love learning like this. So you're an actress and you do many other things you've told me about recently. And but one thing that really rang true, but I'm going to give you the driver's wheel here. What was your first experience in acting?
So my first experience in acting was in 6th grade, where our school did The Wizard of Oz. And I auditioned for Dorothy and I got the role. And that was probably just the most fun experience of my entire childhood that I had. It's just kind of like my aha moment where something inside of me just woke up, and it was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what I love doing. It's so fun. It's such a great way to be able to express myself creatively and be able to tell stories.
Wonderful. I we have a parallel universe here because that was my first experience on stage, Wizard of Oz, and I played the doorman. Who rang that bell? And it was remarkable, like you said. But I'm going to ask you, when you first went out opening night after all that study and singing and dancing and choreography and everything else, 6th grade, what was your first initial reaction to seeing and not looking at the audience?
Mm-hmm. I distinctly remember, in 6th grade, I guess I'm 12 years old. We were backstage just minutes before it was going to start, and I could hear just the volume level in the audience. You could tell that it was packed. Just the rumbling of just all the small talk. And I remember feeling so calm, which is really weird because you hear people always say that, oh, like stage fright, I'm so scared I'm going to forget my lines. The lights are bright. Everybody's looking at me. People are videoing me. And I remember distinctly feeling and telling the other actors backstage, it's like, I'm not nervous at all. I feel so calm. And if anything, I'm just so excited. I can't wait for the lights to go down and for us to start the show. And it was such an interesting moment because as a child, I had a whole lot of anxiety with several different things, but being on stage and acting and singing and dancing and performing, which would normally give people a lot of anxiety, it was the complete opposite for me. And it's just a way that I felt like I could really connect with myself and just be creative and express myself through telling such interesting stories.
So you were prepared, you were focused. It sounds to me like you had a good director too.
Mm-hmm. We
good
did.
Cast.
Yes, our music teacher, who was there for the entire time that I was in elementary school. She was great. She was great to work with, and she was great with kids.
Okay. Yeah, because that's partially, it sounds to me like you were finding the home for your soul,
Yes.
The first time. It's like, because preparation for people that don't know out there, especially theater, which is a beat of my heart, there's especially that, because everything has to be so accurate. Everybody knows the Wizard of Oz. How long was your rehearsals for that? How long? A month, 2 months? What was?
Let me think. So we had music for one semester, and then we had art for one semester because they would rotate teachers throughout the other school systems. So at most, probably maybe 3 or 4 months.
Oh, okay. Wow. I mean, sixth grade.
Yeah.
What age is that? I forgot. 10.
I think 11, 11 and 12.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You have the play. You have being Melissa. Okay. You have home life. You have homework. And then everything was juggling. Your parents supported you obviously in that. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
So that was your first experience. Tell me a little bit more. Tell us a little bit more about yourself from age 11 to now.
So after that experience, I was like, I want to be an actor when I grow up. Like I have to. This is what I'm called to do. This is what I want to do. And I just felt like after, the shows, I was just on cloud nine. I just want to be an actor, period. But then, everyone in my family was just kind of like, okay, well, you need to go to college and get a degree in something where you can support yourself and basically have not even just like do acting, but then have like a backup plan. But it became more like do something else where you can actually make money and then you can just do acting for fun. And I definitely just listened to them as I was such a obedient and compliant child. I was just like, okay, I just wanted to please everyone. Okay, this is, I guess, I'll go get a degree in something that I can support myself in. I for the rest of the time throughout, elementary, middle school, and high school, I studied classical piano. And then in 7th grade, I did band. So I kind of shifted everything from, pursuing acting to really just diving into the music world and did a lot with piano and band. And didn't really do anything else with acting besides maybe just some church plays here or there, but nothing on a large scale. And then I graduated high school, went to college, and I got a degree in mechanical engineering, went to the University of Alabama in Huntsville. And that's where I also met my husband. He studied the same thing. And it was probably about my senior year of college. My sister and I decided that we were going to take modeling classes. So during that, it was mostly modeling, teaching you like runway and print, but then there was a little bit of acting, but only for commercial work. And on that side of it, it was nothing where like fictional, like short film or anything like that. It was just for commercials. But I remember just taking those classes and I was like, I really, even though I never thought about doing acting as far as like commercial work, I really liked that part of it. I didn't really like the modeling side as much because I wasn't tall enough for any agent to really consider me. And if you don't have the right measurements and you don't fit their clothes, they're just kind of like, you're of no use to them. And I thought it was just so shallow, it's only about how you look. Like they don't care about who you are, what you have to say, your voice, anything like that. So I did a little bit just on commercial acting here and there, but then graduated college. We got married, we bought a house, just really started focusing career-wise in mechanical engineering. And it wasn't until maybe about 2 years ago where I was just really allowing myself to have the opportunity to finally pursue acting like I've always wanted to do. So then I started taking classes just locally, and that's when the opportunities have just exploded. And being in Huntsville, everybody's like, oh, does anything go on in Huntsville? Like, it's not like LA, New York, Atlanta, even though we're pretty close to Atlanta, 3.5 hours. Um, I've just been amazed the amount of opportunities here. And that's what I would really encourage other people who love acting, who love storytelling. But if you don't live in New York, LA, Atlanta, I would really encourage you to get involved locally. You will be surprised how much goes on locally in your area, just from other people who have the same creative bug as you and who want to get together and create something to tell amazing stories. So basically just taking classes locally, and the people that I've met either in class or just on local sets, they all have their own projects and their own people and crews that they work with. And it just kind of branches out. They're like, hey, I know someone, I know talent for this role. Maybe you could use Melissa. And then just connecting like that. Or sometimes people come up to me, they're like, hey, I'm needing a male actor. Do you know anyone? It's like, yes, I take acting classes with other people. If you're looking for someone a certain age or another guy or another girl, like, yes, I know people. Or it's really amazing. And I really encourage people to get involved with their community.
You have said so much. It's all wonderful. I'm sorting it through mentally now and emotionally, but it rang true. It's all about networking.
It
I
is.
mean, the way I teach, because I'm an acting coach, the way I teach, yes, you teach and you learn the craft. But while you learn the craft, you're actually learning about yourself, because you and the character have to comply or contrast in some way,
Yes.
and it's a birth thing. But
Right.
then which is so important, I say about 80% out of 100. What's so important is connecting with other people of like minds, like hearts. God gave everybody a certain personality. Some of it doesn't work, some of it does. But when it comes to acting, you don't want to, you're not alone. But if you don't look, like you said, and if you don't network, meet people, so step out of your comfort zone, you're going to feel like you're alone, which means, well, I guess there's nothing out there for me. But it sounds like where you live, you search for gold.
Yes. I mean, it is incredible here. And I don't know how much you know about Huntsville, but Huntsville
Oh,
is just a tech town. I mean, we have Redstone Arsenal, we have NASA. I mean, my husband and I are both mechanical engineers. My mom and dad are engineers, my grandpa, my uncles. I mean, it is just the majority of people in this city are or engineers. And then along with that, we have all the business people that followed to help run companies. So, HR and finance and all that stuff. So we're a really high tech, very highly educated city. And
right.
very, and we're not known for the arts, for creativeness, any of that type of stuff. That's not what we're known for. So it's really easy to just it's almost kind of a cop out to be like, well, I don't live in LA or New York or Atlanta, so I can't really do anything, or I need to pick up and move there. And it's like, you really don't have to, in order to um, work with people and create pieces of work that you and your whole team can be proud of.
You sound like you are challenged with this acting career because of where you live. But at the
Yes.
same time, I think that's what gives you your energy that I hear in your voice, I see in your face. It's like determination. And you probably, I don't know, but if you were in LA or New York or Atlanta, maybe you wouldn't be as challenged. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in my very first acting class here locally, um, there was one guy in there who was from here, but he moved out to LA to pursue modeling and acting, and then moved back because of the pandemic.
Mhm.
And it was just kind of crazy hearing all the stories of LA, and just because I've never even visited, just how big it is and how competitive it is. And you feel like such a small fish in just like a huge ocean. And and this industry is highly competitive. I've heard someone say, I don't know any other job posting out there where there's only one person that can fill that role and thousands of people are applying for it.
That's so true.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think at the beginning I was kind of discouraged, where it's like, because I'm 31 now, and I was like, I'm not, 22, just graduated. I'm not going to just pick up and move and drive for Uber and then just go audition and have like a little studio apartment. Like I'm just not going to do that. I'm married. I have a nice job. We have a house. Like I'm not going to just pick up and do that. So at the beginning, I was just so discouraged that I can never do anything unless you live in the big city. And I just want people to know that that's not true.
I'm so glad that you said that, because we have this stereotype that many times, especially if you're brand new, well, I got to move out to Los Angeles. I'm not saying no. Okay. I've lived there. I've lived in New York, and Michigan presently. Actually, I'm moving back to New York. But what did my brother say once? He's an author. He's wordy, but good. Grow where you're planted. Mm-hmm. At the time he said that at one of the lower points in my life, and I was like, but you can find rich soil where you're at. Plus, I love what you do, what you and your family have decided to do consciously. We're going to stay where we're at.
Yeah.
Because clarity is everything. If you are confused and feel that competition and that pressure and everything, it's going to like suffocate you, put your lungs in a state of, I can't breathe. And then, how are you doing? I'm great. No, you're not. But I guess to loop around, it sounds so cliche, it is, but there's meaning to it. You follow your heart, you listen to your heart. And, if you're in a state, a mental state, emotional state, a physical state, where you're at right now, and it's working for you, and you have a balance, a life balance, okay? And it sounds like you do. You can actually get one role, and you could do excellent in that role. It could be a feature film.
Yes.
And then you would be, boom, up there, as they say. Mm-hmm. So absolutely. I like what you're saying.
Absolutely. And another thing for actors that are just starting out, I personally think that, it could not be the best use of your time and money to just go pick up and move to these big cities where it's incredibly expensive to live in. Mm-hmm. And you don't even know anything about, you have not even trained at all yet. You know nothing about the craft, where, at least what worked for me when I did, I stayed here, and especially since COVID, so much has been virtual. And I have studied out of Atlanta virtually for many, many classes. And I was able to get the same information that those people who picked up and moved to Atlanta are also just behind the computer screen, learning as well. So that's another great thing about, I guess, where we are in 2023 with so much being virtual. These acting classes are offered like that.
Very true. I absolutely 100%. The only thing that I would say is, and it sounds like you're already doing it, you're active, actors act, we take action. Yeah. You study online, you absorb what you have, but you don't just close the computer and then sit. No, you go out and you make yourself uncomfortable, and you're in front of a camera talking to actual people, face to face, and applying what you've learned. You could study how to ride a motorcycle and take all the classes you need. But if you don't get on, you're going to kill yourself eventually.
Yes. Exactly.
So what is going on in your life right now as an actress?
So as an actress, let's see. Well, Laura Ann. And so that was, yes. So that was just another example of Laura Ann and I were connected through a mutual friend who I met just locally on a set here in Huntsville. And every year, locally in Huntsville, there's a 72-hour film competition. So 72 hours from the time that they give you your prompt to film, edit, and submit. So our mutual friend told me that, hey, Laura Ann's team is looking for more talent. Would you like to be a part of it? And I said, sure. So that is how I initially met Laura Ann. That was back in April. And then after that, Laura Ann is like the queen of networking. I'm serious. Every time I get on Facebook and I join lots of the local Facebook groups for, filmmakers, casting calls, different things like that. I mean, if someone's ever looking for some help, she's right there, like in the top in the comments saying like she can help. She has this type of expertise. She's a master networker. And so just after meeting her, she has introduced me to so many people and has allowed me to audition and then book several more roles. So lately I did 3 more short films and she was on the team for those. One of them, she was the director. The next one, she actually wrote, directed, and produced. And then the third one after that, she was the AD. So that's what I've been doing here. Just local stuff with, within like an hour or so radius from here, working with different other locals and creatives. And one of them that she wrote, it's called The Narrative. She wrote and directed, and I was talent in it. And I think that's how you actually found me, from her posting. We actually have been nominated for several awards this weekend at the Visual Awards in Birmingham.
Wow.
So we're going to that. Yeah. And I mean, I would have never, ever thought that I would have had this amount of opportunity just in Alabama.
You're educating me today. Okay. I think a coach should also be a student, because you can always pick up on what people say, because, that's the way it should work anyway.
Yeah.
You remind me of a friend of mine, Becky Bartlett. She is the president of the film commission there. Okay. And when I interviewed her and talked to her, I have to admit, it's like,
yeah.
She said, no, David, it's a beautiful state. And we have film incentives, directors, flock there because you get tax credits and stuff. And I said, wow, okay, I didn't know that. I didn't mean to be short-sighted. I'm very transparent. It's like, what?
Yeah.
But it goes back to where you're living at. And you're near Nashville too, right?
Yes. So, yeah. So 2 hours south of Nashville and then 3.5 hours away from Atlanta. And then there's a good amount of stuff that films in New Orleans. That's probably like 6 or 7 hours away. And then there's stuff going on in Knoxville, Tennessee. So that's about 3 hours away. So we have a nice little radius here of bigger cities that have a lot of production going on.
You just have to look for it, right?
Yes. You really do. And I don't mean, you're going to go on this wild goose chase trying to find something. It's get on your phone and on Facebook, join all of the groups within your area. I mean, depending on how big your area is, your city, and how far you might be willing to drive, an hour or two radius, and join all of them.
Absolutely.
mean, there's definitely something going on. And or you can start one in your own area. I mean, I guarantee you there is somebody else out there who is creative and shares a lot of the same visions and I guess goals that you do, and would love to connect.
Did you hear that, everybody? Go and connect. Seriously.
Yes,
from Melissa Fulmer. No, this is very exciting. What else could I ask you? You're fascinating. You have so much knowledge and just, I can feel your passion for everything. How does your family think of you now? I mean, everybody has to learn, you know. You went for a plan A, no plan B. So
Yeah. When I told my family, like, I'm taking acting classes, they were so excited. They they just always remember me as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. And and just in church plays, I mean, they tell me that not only did I memorize all of my lines, but I memorized everybody else's lines, like, when the other person's supposed to come in. Um, so yeah, they were just so excited every time they asked me like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? And it's like, oh, I'm going to be on set. And they're like, well, when can I see you? What's it about? So they're so supportive and so excited about it.
that's so important. I mean, because some people will support you. You want to gravitate towards those people. They're your
Yeah.
strength, you know.
Yeah.
And fellow actors. I like to say, like, if you're running a marathon, yes, you're in competition, but you're all going the same direction, at least.
Mhm.
And you can pick up on so many different things if we ask and listen. I mean, really listen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if someone wanted to contact you, how would they go about that? Casting director or
Yeah. I would say the best way to get a hold of me is to send me an email, melissa.fulmer15@gmail.com. I would say
Okay.
that's the best way to get a hold of me. I'm also on social media. I'm on Facebook, Melissa Lee Fulmer, and then on Instagram, I think it's Melissa_Fulmer.
Is there any shout outs that you would like to give? Well, you already did for Laura, but any
Right.
other buddy you want to just give a shout
Yeah.
out for?
So I had an acting coach for we studied very diligently together for about a year. Sherry Province, she's actually the executive director at Limelight Theater in St. Augustine. And she was an absolute godsend to me. Sometimes in this industry, it can be hard to meet other people that have the same values and share the same faith as you, and you can be pressured to doing things that you don't feel comfortable with. But she has been an amazing mentor to me to really stand firm in what I believe in. And if you're not okay with that and you feel like that's wrong, then don't do it. But besides that, she's an amazing teacher and coach, and I owe a lot to her and the many hours we spent together on Zoom, just working together.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do you have any, as much as you can tell, because sometimes when you get a project, you sign a disclosure agreement and all that. But is there anything that you're working on currently?
I am right now. I'm working on another project with Laura Ann. It's called The First 30 Days. And this is a very interesting project. Maybe you've seen her post about it on social media, but we have talent from all over the world. And the genre is kind of like a found footage type of thing. So that is how we're able to work with talent from all over the world, kind of filming what's going on after the rapture. The Bible speaks of the rapture. So basically kind of the people that are left behind still on the earth, trying to put all the pieces together for that. And I'm playing a news reporter. So that is the project I'm working on right now. And hopefully come this April, we will be up and going again for the 72-hour film festival or competition.
Excellent. I could see you playing a reporter.
A news reporter.
Maybe it's the fact that you went to school for the engineering.
Huh.
I've known a lot of engineers, and they think very analytically, just numbers.
Absolutely.
And yeah, absolutely. So I can see that if you are on camera and you are, I can't wait to see it actually.
Yes.
You're just like whatever you're holding, microphone or whatever, but you're very direct. You're just,
Yes.
I can see you also playing a detective or a policewoman as well. You have that, I don't know, that focus and energy.
Yeah, that's funny because last year at the 72-hour competition, Laura Ann cast me as a detective.
Oh, really?
And that's the first role and that's the first time I had ever worked with her. That's what she had me playing a detective.
Okay. Was it
Yeah.
fun?
Yes, it was. I will say those 72-hour or 48-hour competitions are exhausting. And
Yes,
it's
they are.
hard. I think the hardest part for me is having to learn an entire script in only a few hours.
How do you do that? Your
So
your way of approaching it, I mean.
yeah, so this is a technique that my coach Sherry taught me. Is basically it's called scoring a script. So you have your lines on one side, and then let's say the sentence is she went to the store. That's the first line. So you would write out capital S, capital W, and then T. She went to, and then T, and then S. And it's just, it does something weird in your brain, and you score that for the entire script, or like if you have like a long chunk of a line that you're having a hard time memorizing, but you write that out and then you kind of cover up your actual text and you just read those letters, and you only have the first letter of each word, and it does something in your brain where it kind of connects the dots, and you learn it like that, and then you can kind of take it away and not look at anything and try to recite it back to yourself.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah,
Actually.
so that's a good way to learn it if you don't have like a partner to go over lines with. My husband's really supportive, and so he'll help me run lines like that. Or I've done it before where I would record all my lines and then just like a voice memo, and I have an app where we just loop it again and again and again and listen to it while I'm in the car.
I got to tell you, and I acknowledge what you say, but you just said something. Get this book, okay? Instant Acting.
Okay.
Instant Acting by Jeremy Whelan. Whelan.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can't miss it. I'll just give you a visual. He is going like this, okay, on a stage.
Mm-hmm.
And unmistakably, he looks like, if you ever heard of Michael Bolton, singer Michael Bolton.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, in his early years, he had this long hair. I mean, just long. Okay. Sort of like Ted Nugent, but he's like this. Okay. So get that book. My mother bought it for me. She's in heaven now, but she always supported me. That book tells exactly word for word. It's not just a good read. You can actually apply it actively. Okay. And what you said about recording, I'll just give you quickly overview. Go on Thrift Books, it's cheaper. You record your voice, and then you move with your voice, and you put pauses in between the recording. So kinetically speaking, you'll get, because you're an engineer, you'll get this right away. Kinetically speaking, your muscle memory, and you remember this position that you're in. And it just marries your the words with the movement. Because it is a type of marriage. It comes together. If you don't you're not a talking head, you're connected. You have your whole body. Exactly. So that would be a good book for you.
Yeah, I will definitely get that.
Hey, listen, it was a privilege and an honor, a lot of fun too, educationally wise, for you to be on my show, Real Actors, Real Answers.
Thank you so much. It was great to be here today.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We'll keep an eye on that, the actual releasing of the narrative. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, so the narrative is the one that we're going up for an award this weekend, and then the next one we're filming with Laura Ann is called The First 30 Days.
The First 30 Days, yeah. Okay, it sounds intriguing. All right, well, thank you once again for being on Real Actors, Real Answers.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
You as well.